Welcome to Talking with Tech. My name is Chris Bouguet, and I'm here with Rachel Nadel. Rachel, I heard from multiple sources that you just presented at it wasn't early intervention, was it? Or was it early childhood? Is there a difference? What was it that you presented at?
Preschool Autism Summit.
What's that?
So Tara over at Autism Little Learners hosted this conference. It was an online summit. It's actually super fun to participate in. And I got asked to present on the topic of AAC, naturally. And it was a completely free event. So we had shared this on my social media and my email list, just kind of letting people know whenever, especially there's a free event where you can, learn. And I'm presenting, of course, I share it with my platforms to say hey, because oftentimes, I don't know about you, Chris, but I get a lot of emails from people asking when's the next time I can join this course or this event? And so I was really excited because this was not just a summit for SLPs, although there were plenty of SLPs that attended, but there were a lot of educators and it was a broader audience. The first day of the summit was focused on communication. And so it was alongside of a lot of other really great SLP presenters in the space. But the other 2 days, it was psychologists, nutritionists, lots of different kind of modalities and different topics, which I thought was really interesting because oftentimes we have very thematic types of events and conferences. It's this event's for speech therapists, this event's for occupational therapists, this event's for teachers. And so to kind of see a multidisciplinary group of people come together was really exciting. And I think the last time I checked, there was 28,000 people who attended the summit, which was super cool. And I just love, especially that I had the opportunity to present to, teachers specifically. There are a lot of parents who joined too. And sometimes we get so kind of caught up in our little AAC bubble, Chris, that I'm everybody understands the need for AAC. Everybody understands AAC. You won't prevent verbal speech. It's we kind of forget that this is not common knowledge across all the different disciplines and spheres. And so it was just really good opportunity to teach some of my best strategies. My course was actually on modeling in a classroom. And I go into some of the different nuances because I feel we can oversimplify modeling and say, well, we'll just model. You just model for kids. And that's, all we need to do. And it is not always so simple. There's nuances. There's also modeling and explicit teaching. There's coaching elements of how to get teams to model and how to prevent roadblocks from kind of coming up that prevent us from doing effective modeling. So I went into all the different kinds of nuances, shared some great resources, and it was cool because the event had a Facebook group, and there were 8,000 people in this group. And I got tagged in so many comments yesterday. People loving my presentation, people sharing inspire, don't require, can you make t-shirts, which has been on my to-do list for a while. So I am going to eventually make t-shirts. But yeah, it was really cool. It was really, really great engagement. And I especially loved hearing from people who didn't have a lot of familiarity with AAC. Some of those kind of basic principles that I kind of take for granted and think everybody understands and knows. No, that's incorrect. And so it felt really good to be able to teach those things.
That sounds so awesome. It's so great to be able to stretch to other disciplines and to other people that don't often get to or haven't yet had the experience. Let's put it that way. And now you're you introduced that concept to them, and that opens them up to a whole new world of things that they may have never even known before. And that just makes it even better for the world of AAC.
Yeah. And what I was really excited for was there was a lot of presentations on the topic of AAC, actually. So it wasn't just me. Sometimes I feel like when I get asked to do events like this, it's like I'm the sole representative of AAC. But it was really cool. There were multiple presentations on AAC and a lot of people incorporating it into their sessions, even if the main topic wasn't AAC. Like there was some on Gestalt language processing. But I heard AAC a lot, and that made me really happy and really excited.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
So, Chris, you also did a speaking event recently.
Yeah, I had the great fortune to present in Israel, actually. So there was this whole plan that I was going to go to Israel this past summer. Of course, because of the conflict over there, that didn't happen. And so we pivoted and we decided that we would do an online experience where I would record a video specifically around what they were very interested in was the specific language system first approach and how they could bring that to sort of spread it around the country, and how it could be used to, again, move the borders of AAC. And so we did this video, and the way it worked is all the people who participated in this ISSAC Israel Conference came to like an auditorium. I wasn't the only thing. I think there was other parts of that conference. It was like a 2-day conference, and I was part of the second day. They watched the pre-recorded video, and then at the end of that, I came in live, and we did a Q&A, through Zoom, where they were asking about it. And at the end, it was really, they asked such great questions and thoughtful questions. And it was such a awesome experience because we had Sharon, thank you, often translated. Someone spoke Hebrew, translated English, and back and forth. But such great thoughtful questions about how to move the specific language system first approach or apply that to what they're doing in their own practices, or in their own places of work. And at the end, I didn't get to hear it, but I guess it was this like round of applause. And what they said was, Chris, I think this might have been a translation thing, but it's like, you're really moving our cheese. And I was like, well, in English, that's sort of like a negative thing. like you don't move someone's cheese because they're used to that. She's like, no, here we mean it to be like, you're stretching our thinking. You're making us think of things we haven't thought of before. And this is exactly why we wanted you to be here. So over the summer, there's been lots of conversations. There's been some recordings that'll be coming up in the podcast where there have been more school districts that are sort of, how do I do this in my, here's what our situation is. Chris, can we pick your brain? Sure. You want to record it? And so we have some episodes like that coming up further down the line here. But it was such a wonderful experience. I'm sad I didn't get to go, but I'm still glad that we got to do it.
I love that, Chris. It's so cool when we get to have a reach beyond the United States, which I know with this podcast we definitely do. But it just is super cool to think about global AAC and how we can make an impact, especially with, that idea of the specific language system first. It just is super cool to see how that has shifted our clinical practice in the United States. I feel like we are very often getting emails in our inbox that I forward to you. I'm like, yes, Chris can respond to this one. I know a lot of people at HAA this year came up and shared. And so it's really cool to see kind of that idea of yours really blossom and evolve. And so I'm just like, it's really exciting to be a bystander and see the impact.
So sadly, you presented without me, I presented out without you, but we did get to present together, which is our favorite way to present. And that was, thank you, Arkansas. Arkansas invited us to, the Arkansas Speech and Hearing Association invited us to participate in a Talking with Tech live event where people submitted questions onto a Google form, which fed into a Google Sheet, and then we sort of answered them, but not just us. People in the participating answered them. And so there's great collaborative responses to the questions. And we recorded it. So it will eventually come out on the podcast. Months and months and months from now, it's scheduled to come out. We do have it up in Patreon. So if you can't wait, you could subscribe in Patreon and get access to that content now rather than waiting. But thank you, Arkansas. That was a lot of fun, don't you think?
It was so fun, Chris. I've never been to Arkansas, but virtually I've been there. And the Talking with Tech Live is also such a fun event because the way we've structured that professional learning is so unique and so powerful. I think that oftentimes in the world of AAC, it can feel like we're in our own silo, doing our own thing, questioning whether or not we are doing it right and whether or not the things that we're doing or the ideas that we have make sense. And so I think what's really nice about those events is that we realize that we know more than we think we do. I think that is often a takeaway because it's not just you and I, Chris, answering questions. It's really us facilitating a conversation. And, I think that can be so powerful. Sometimes, just having people share their ideas makes people realize that, oh, okay, I'm thinking about this the same as others, or, oh, this is a universal struggle. This isn't just a me struggle. And those can just be really powerful, again, when you're kind of in your own silo, doing your own thing, not having the opportunities to collaborate and connect with other people that are doing the same types of things. And so that's my favorite thing, is that we can kind of bring a group of people together and they can share their experiences, which are really powerful. And we can kind of facilitate a really awesome conversation.
For sure. Now, speaking of awesome conversations, we have had podcasts in the past, and occasionally we invite people to sort of stay after the recording and record a little bonus segment. And then when we have enough of those banked up, we put them out as what's called a Small Talks episode. And we've had a number of those. We are up to I guess this is episode Small Talk number 8. This will be the 8th time we've done this. And so let me give you the rundown about what you're about to hear. So these are shorter segments, bonus clips. One from Amy Mayer talking about a specific strategy she uses called question slips. Another one is our friend Judy Schoonover, who I asked her the question, what are your favorite items from the dollar store that you can flip around and use for awesome educational experiences? The next one is, do you remember Remi Moran, that podcast that we did together? Well, we stuck around and we talked to him a little bit about the TV and how turning a TV into a touchscreen works, which was really innovative. We talked to Dr. Tiffany Zaugg, who talked about a particular tool called Debriefscape. So without further ado, let's listen to these interviews for our Small Talks episode. Welcome back to the podcast, Amy Mayer, for our Small Talk episode. So Amy, what do you got? What's one short little nugget you can share?
Well, it is a strategy called question slips.
Ooh, what's that?
And I really love it. It's something I think every teacher should know about. And but first, I want to make sure it solves a problem you have. So have you ever gone home from work drained from answering questions like this? Can I write in this blue pen or do I need to use a black pen? Can I write in the top left or do I need to put my name on the right? Do I put my title in the middle or where do I put my title? Can I go to the bathroom? Can I change seats? Can I sit by her? Can I sit by him?
Yes.
And at the end of the day, you're like, oh, but don't ask me another question. I can't. Don't ask me what to eat for dinner. I can't even do that. So it's a problem that you have.
For sure. Because
Okay.
especially those questions that don't really matter. The answers don't really matter.
Right. None of those questions I just said matter. Like
Right.
none, not a single one of them do I care about. What color pen you use. Do not care. Yes. So I found myself completely overwhelmed by questions as a teacher and by decision making, like constant decision making. And it was very fatiguing. It was a huge part of the job that fatigued me. And I went to a conference one time, and this was it was probably 25 years ago. And this guy from Canada was there. I don't even know his name. I wish I did so I could give him credit. He was a speaker at the conference. They had flown all the way to Texas from Canada. And he gave this strategy called question slips. And what a question slip is, and you can Google it, you'll find our blog. We have these published, so you can go get a version of it that you can make your own. What a question slip is you always have your students working in some sort of teams. Even if they're not working together, they have a team, so they're together. So I know these 4 people are my people I'm working with. And I'm going to give you, as the teacher, I'm going to give you 3 question slips. So I don't want to give you 4 because then you can say, okay, everybody gets 1 and you decide your own question. I want to make them agree with each other when they ask a question. And the question slip is just something that you use after open question time is over. So open question time happens every day. I answer questions as the teacher until there are no more questions. And then we get started with the work. Anytime we're working on a project or working on something, there's open question time. I give the instructions. It's open question time. Now it's time to work. And then this gives me the chance to do what you suggested in our original podcast episode, which is more time working with small groups. Mm-hmm. So then I go into small group time or whatever. I don't want to be constantly interrupted with questions like this. So I'm going to give you question slips. And all you have to do, you can ask a question anytime you want. You just fill out the question slip and hand it to me. The only thing is everybody on your team or in your group has got to sign off on it. Mm-hmm. So this is how it goes down. Oh, Chris, can you sign this? I got to go to the bathroom. And Chris says, no, go to the class is over in 10 minutes. Just go to the bathroom then. You don't have to go to the bathroom right now. And I say, yeah, you're right. I can wait 10 more minutes. And now I don't go and ask Miss Mayer if I can go to the bathroom.
Right.
If I really, really need to go, I can find a way to say it that it's not a question.
Yes. I love this idea because it's helping people. Well, first, it's preventing those unnecessary questions and realizing you have more autonomy and authority over your own life. Just choose which pen. The teacher doesn't need to make that choice for you. And you're embracing communication opportunities for the learners themselves to solve the problems themselves, right? Do you use some sort of technology along with that? Like, use a Google Slides and put your questions on the slide? Is it like that, or a piece of paper, or any of the above? Anything like that will work, right?
You could absolutely do that. I'll tell you, for this case only, I like to use the technology to make the question slip. And then I want it to be a physical piece of paper. And the reason why is because our human psychology is, if I have something, I don't want to lose it. So it's loss prevention. And so what I thought would happen when I printed out question slips originally, and I printed, hundreds and hundreds of them, and I thought I will come back to the copy machine and print hundreds and hundreds more. No, I printed them out one time in my teaching career, and I used them literally for years. I probably still have some of them in my cabinets back here somewhere. So I like giving a piece of paper in this case. And what happened was they never used the question slips because there was no question that had not been answered that mattered.
Right.
So there was no team of people who signed off on it. So right. I very rarely ever got one back. And when I did, it was something like, it was like, I know many times I literally said, you don't have to give me the slip for that. That's such a good question. Like, you just keep it, use it for next time. It wasn't ever about the piece of paper, and yet the piece of paper does something in your brain.
For sure. All right, Amy, that is awesome. What a great strategy. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back. I'd like to welcome back to the Talking with Tech podcast, Judy Schoonover. How's it going, Judy?
Oh, it's going very well, Chris. How's it going with you?
Great. Now, I understand that you just got back from the dollar store, and you have some different purchases that you made that you might give as recommendations for either educational tools or as functional tools to help anybody with their learning. So what are some of your top purchases at the dollar store?
Oh, I love the dollar store. And yes, I did just go to the dollar store. So I'm thinking about what's in my car right now because I hide it from my husband and I don't bring it in until he's not home because he thinks I have too much stuff. So number one, pool noodles. You can make 100 different things on pool noodles. And there is a great blog. I think it is the TheraPro blog, and it's pool noodles as assistive technology. And I use that blog. I use the references from that blog in several of my presentations. And it's got things like you can even make a whisper phone out of a pool noodle. But I like them for card holders. I like them for pencil grips. Understood has a has a section on seating, adaptive seating in the classroom. And one of them includes pool noodles for, you can put them around the back of the chair and fasten them with those bungee hooks. What are those called?
Yeah, like carabiner sort of thing, or the hooks. Yeah.
Yeah, the hooks with the stretchy stuff. You can use them for lumbar support, but you can also put them under the front of the knees to kind of push the hips back. You can also stretch them across the base of the chair, and the student can use them as a foot fidget. So pool noodles are number one, and I could think of a zillion different things to do with pool noodles. The number two thing is, and I don't have the right word for it, but there's these little like kitchen carpets, I call them. They're about 18 inches by 24 inches, and they're like a thin rug or carpet that you can buy, and they're usually in the household section, and they are Velcro sensitive. So the coolest thing is I was buying stuff for a while. The Dollar Tree had these little foam cubes that were the same as counting cubes, the wooden ones, but they were foam, so they were really lightweight. And then the Dollar Tree also has Velcro dots that you can buy. So if you don't have access to big, long lengths of Velcro, you can buy the little Velcro dots. They come in like sets of 15 or something like that. So if you put the Velcro dots on those cubes and you fasten those cubes to that carpet, the cubes don't go anywhere, but also with the Velcro, you can build a tower. And a student that may have difficulty with motor skills and the tower might fall unintentionally, the Velcro holds them together so they can have more success in building. But the other nice thing about these carpet things is you can put them in any position. So you can put them up in a vertical plane. You can fasten them to the wall or whatever. And then you can have different things displayed vertically for easier viewing. And on a previous podcast, I talked about PVC, and there's a PVC frame that you can make that's adjustable. It tilts, and I stabilize that PVC frame or any of the other PVC creations I make that I don't want to move on those carpet squares, because it holds them at the right angle or at the right distance from the student so that they work the best. And don't tell anybody, but you can cut that stuff with a paper cutter at school, but the secretaries would get really mad at you because it dulls the blade after a while. The other thing that I like at the Dollar Tree is the cheap version of Rubbermaid shelf liner, and it works like gripper. And so you can use that. You can use it inside a pool noodle if you're using the pool noodle as a pencil holder or pencil grip to change not change the way that the pencil or the pen or the paintbrush fits in the hole of the pool noodle, but make sure that it allows you to make sure that pencil doesn't shift. You wrap it with the Rubbermaid and stuff it in, and then it's a nice secure grip or hold. Rubbermaid can go under a notebook so that the notebook doesn't slide around. I hope you're using the notebook as a slant board instead of paying $35 for one. You can get inexpensive notebooks at the Dollar Tree as well, and if you turn them inside out, they become an easel. And then you stabilize that easel by sticking it on the carpet square or on the Rubbermaid stuff. The other thing that the Dollar Tree has is these little plastic. They look like sheet protectors, but they're of a more durable plastic than sheet protectors, and they've got like a little binding, a little cloth binding, and it's wonderful for use as a dry erase board. It's a full-size thing, so you can put things inside that they can trace or they can circle. They can answer a question or whatever, and then you can pull out that sheet so it can be replaced over and over again. The big thing too, my other always buy is cookie sheets. Is once again, you take that cookie sheet and you can put it on that tilting eye gaze frame, and you can attach anything to that cookie sheet with magnets so that the child might have access to puzzle pieces or to alphabet letters or whatever else they might want to engage in. They also have these little small metallic boxes that are made out of the same aluminum as cookie sheets, that you can have like a mini task box. I know that a lot of teachers are making these task boxes right now, and these are just little small ones that you can have like one attribute inside. And if you go online, there's a lot of free or for very small amount purchase of ready-made task box activities that you can swap out. So you use the same box, but you just swap out the attributes you want them to do with the task and keep those in baggies. What else do I like plastic plates. Plastic plates. If you buy 2 plastic plates and you put little beads or marbles underneath, the top plastic plates becomes like a lazy Susan. You can spin it on the little wheels on the bottom. And press lights. They have inexpensive press lights. And so you can use those. If you keep the light on, you can put them in one of the dollar store shoe boxes, line that shoe box with parchment paper, and you've got a very inexpensive light box. And the other thing that you can do with those push lights is you can have them for different switch activities, or you can have a yes or a no or a stop and a go by covering them with that colored paper, and they can push one for start and one for stop. So I got a million of them, Chris. If you came with me to the Dollar Tree, you would be stunned at all the different things that you can do for free or for very little cost. It's now $1.25, unfortunately, so you have to kick in an extra quarter, but there's a ton of things you can do.
Still, look at everything you just described for $10 or less.
Absolutely. And the containers you can turn into all sorts of put in. Oh, even with pool noodles, you can cut them in different lengths and you can drop the pom-poms through them so they can sort by color and then drop them down through the tube. And then you have the little plastic containers underneath that catches them so you can see if you've sorted the color correctly.
I love it.
I wanted to add one more thing, and it was something that I found recently online while I was looking for ideas on what I could do with things I found at the Dollar Tree. There's 2 different things. Number one, our teachers' website has 117 things that you can do with things purchased from the Dollar Tree. It's more educational in nature, but it's got a lot of ideas. And the Dollar Tree in my neighborhood never is the same. You never. There's so many things that you don't find consistently. Oh, another thing too is the sheet magnifiers, because you can make different things with the sheet magnifiers. I forgot to say that. But my main point is that Dollar Tree also has a website, and you can go to the website and you can order things from Dollar Tree online, and they have a lot more choices. But what I found when I was exploring things to do with things you found in the Dollar Tree was a series of videos on YouTube called Dollar Tree Hacks. And there is a mom, and I'm not sure if she is a special educator or an OT or a parent, but she has 2 children that have limb deficiencies. And she takes them to the Dollar Tree and they buy things. And then she takes them home and she has the kids show how they use them. And the most important part of this is that the kids show how they use them. Like there was a long-handled scrub brush, there was a long-handled shoehorn, there was the Rubbermaid grip liner on the table to keep dishes from sliding around. She asked the child, "Do you like this? Does it work for you?" And I think that that's probably the most important thing that you can have as a takeaway from what I talked about earlier is it's got to be for the kid. And you've got to assess the effectiveness and whether it's a good tool by their reaction to it. And these kids had a say in what was provided to them. They had a chance to trial them, and they had a say as to whether they liked them or not. And that's the most important thing that you need to remember. And I will send you that link, Chris, so that you can include it in your transcript.
We will definitely have it in the show notes. Thank you, Judy.
You're welcome.
So we'd like to welcome back to the podcast, Remi Moran. Remi, tell us about some of the innovative stuff you're doing for homeschooling.
Yes. So in terms of homeschooling, what I did first, since my kid was really, tablet oriented, I bought a frame, an infrared infrared frame that you can put on the TV. And then what it does, it's USB. You can plug it in the computer, and then you can use your TV as a big 50-inch touchscreen. So that way you can model, you can put YouTube videos. And what I did is I oriented my TV vertically, like portrait. So while doing that, well, you can put your video on top, and you can have your AAC application at the bottom. And then you can press, and in terms of form factor, well, it's great because it only occupies the down portion of the screen, and then at the top you have your YouTube video or your interactive book or whatever. So it's all on the same TV. And what I did also is I bought a stand for these TV cabinets that are inside of furniture, and they just get out, they go up and down. So we have that too. So now the screen can be up or down. So if she has to do something, it's down, and if I have to present something, I put it up, and it's automated. It's very fun.
That's so cool. I mean,
it's
in
very cool.
schools we have, in our local schools, we have interactive whiteboards, right?
Yeah, it's the
but those
same
are
principle.
super expensive. You came up with a way to do it that anyone could have one at their home.
Yeah. So the frame was, I think, $300 or something like that. You need to have the TV also the same size, and you just put it on it. And the infrared is just the beams that go across. And when you put your finger on the screen, then there's an interception, and then it says, okay, you are at that position, and it acts as a pointer, like a mouse.
Well, and it's also brilliant to orient it in a portrait view, so you can have the video on the top, because it keeps the motor planning the same.
Yes.
Sometimes when you're scrunching an AAC app, well, now all the buttons are in different spots. But if you orient it the way you described it, the buttons are in the same spot. The words are in the same spot.
That's it. And one great application I'm using is called OpenBoard. And what OpenBoard does, it's an application for if you have a whiteboard, interactive whiteboard. It's exactly the same, but you have it to put on your computer, so on your screen, and then you can do doodles, you can put shapes. So, for example, what I did with my daughter, I had this. I took the icons from the system. So I had all the days of the week, I had all the months and the seasons, and I had a little. Well, it looked like a magnifier, and we were moving it, day per day. Say, okay, well, we're that day, and then we move it. So you see the movement, and now we are in autumn, we are in fall, now we're in winter, and you just move all this stuff there. So it's very interactive. It's really, and at the same time, we see the icons, and we can model them, and we can get to that page. Oh, see, it's the same icons. At some point, you're able to bring something that is very consistent in terms of symbolic representation. And that helps a lot, because then it's no question. This is June. This is Wednesday. No question. It's exactly the same. If each time we see that, we use the same symbology every time.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So
I'm curious, Remi, if you've ever used the tools Writing Wizard or Word Wizard. I know you've talked a lot about literacy.
No.
Ooh, those are good ones. Those are really good ones.
It's recorded already.
Yes. Actually, you know what? I believe the app developer is French. I'm almost positive, because I had reached out to this app developer years ago and asked if they could do high contrast, because I was working on literacy with some of my students and they needed high contrast. And so he was super open to changing it. I then followed up and I was like, can we also have it integrate with a Bluetooth keyboard? So anyway, I use the app, especially Word Wizard. They're both by the same company. The app Word Wizard is a game changer for literacy for my students. And I can just envision you having that application, screen and
now I remember.
Words for Life.
Now I remember. In French, it's La Magie des mots. Yeah, I know that application. My oldest, she used that at school. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know that.
Great.
Yeah.
Yes. It's really versatile. I work using kids with emergent literacy skills all the way up to more conventional spelling activities. You can customize word lists. I think that's it's a big tool that I use with a lot of my clients on literacy.
Yeah. Good. Okay. Yeah. I'm taking notes. That's for sure.
Beautiful.
Excellent.
Awesome stuff. Well, thank you so much for coming back on and sharing about how you're doing the innovative stuff with the touchscreen for homeschooling.
Thanks.
I'd like to welcome back to the podcast, Tiffany Zaugg. How's it going, Tiffany?
It's good. How are you?
Great. So this is a small talk segment. So tell us a little bit in a few minutes or less, what's some cool strategy or resource that people need to know about?
So the University of Central Florida has what is called Debriefscape. And Debriefscape allows you to take video that you have and upload it into the web. And it is not saved in their web space or anything. It's automatically saved in yours. And you can go in and you can tag things. So think about if you need to provide video feedback to a teacher or to a parent or a student, right? You can go in and take that video and tag different spots. So the actual reason that they created it is for math and science teachers. And actually the tags will lead you to professional development. But you don't even have to do that if you want to use your own. So you just take your little video, upload it into the system and tag it. And then as you play it back, and then it analyzes the data for you, which is amazing. It'll
tell me more. I'm not sure I'm following. So I take my video, right? Let's say I make this little 3-minute video about whatever. I take this video, I put it up into the website, and then I can hashtag different parts of it? Or do you mean I can add hyperlinks that take you to a different resource?
So you can hashtag. So okay. Actually, if you reach out to them, they'll actually and say, can you create these? They will actually create the hyperlinks that will take you out. So UCF is willing to do that. But think about we had our last conversation about the smart partners, and we talked about avoiding asking lots of questions. Mm-hmm. You could go in and have that video playing of that teacher. You could you could tag those areas, and you can tag more than one. You could tag various different things. And then when you're done, you can hit the analyzer button, and it'll give you the percentage or the amount of times that person asked those questions.
Wow.
And it'll be it'll give you two choices. You can have a bar graph, or it'll do it in a pie graph, and it's all free.
So I could tag all the places where someone is using, let's say, self-talk, the strategy of self-talk, where I'm just describing what I'm doing. And I could watch the video, tag it, and it'll analyze all that for me. And now I have data. That's exactly what we're doing when we're coaching AAC users in my neck of the woods. Sorry, not AAC, communication partners. We'll focus on like different aspects of skills we're trying to build, like self-talk or parallel talk, or like you said, wait time or whatever. We could, and we're counting those, but this will help you do it for you. Oh, that's exciting. Right. I haven't seen that before.
So we actually, it's through a different grant than the grant that I'm on. And the grant that I am on, we have to sit and watch the videos, and we need a tally. And I'm like, hey, can't we just use our other grant tool? And why are we doing all of this when we have this other tool that's available? So it works very smoothly. And
give us the name of it one more time.
Briefscape.
Debrief. Gotcha. Debriefscape. All right. We'll make sure we have it linked in the show notes.
And if you go to UCF's website and check out Debriefscape, it'll tell you the link and get you information. So.
Awesome. Thanks, Tiffany.
Yep. Thank you.